circling madly for a meal, you are free. Deer on the highway, seedling in concrete, spiders weaving webs on the lamps of the streets, you are free.
I feel like I want to jump in and sing with her. It's so sexy, right? Fucking. How do you not feel that? Right? How do you not feel that? Beautiful, talented.
You are open as a desert sky.
Ooh. Just get lost in that. Get lost in that music. And vote, and with full confidence, full backing of the United States government, with police officers at the polling stations, taxpayer sponsored. The whole thing looks so legitimate, so real. But when you really get down to it, when you really get down to the brass tacks, you realize that the whole thing is a sham and a ripoff. And we have that evidence for you today. We've been following it all along. If you've been following along, Massachusetts, Texas, the state of Vermont, all of the Super Tuesday states are rigged. Rigged big time. Vermont was rigged by 12 points. God damn. And now we've got California. How come this isn't the biggest news? How come this isn't the biggest news right now on television? How come this isn't everywhere? How come everybody isn't talking about the fact that we have rigged elections in our great nation? Why is that? Why is that possible? Today is March 10, Super Tuesday 2. We'll do the live results tonight. The chat will be open. We're going to look at Dems abroad. Those Dems abroad, Idaho. I don't know why I get those two mixed up. Because they start with an I. Idaho, 20. Michigan, the big prize, 125 delegates. Mississippi, down in the south where there are no exit polls, the black box voting, 36. Missouri, 68. Got our friend Sterling Price. Good morning, Sterling Price in the house. Got Sterling Price in the house from the great state of Missouri. Gets to vote tonight, today, tomorrow. Vinny DiMartini. What's up, Vinny? Grant Jarvis, thank you. I saw Nick Purvis in there. What's up, Nick? So, welcome everybody. Don't be a dick in the comments, and we'll have no problem here. Hey, you know what I'm saying, man? We have nothing. You won't get any flack. If you're not a dick in the comments, you won't get any flack. So these are the states tonight. We're going to look at, we got the evidence rolling in from our good researchers at TDMS who have been crunching the numbers for us, doing the hard lifting, the heavy lifting of crunching the numbers on the exit polls as opposed to what was actually voted upon by the people of our great nation. And but before we do that, let's look at the stock market. Whoa, holy smokes, we're up 753 points. Oh, I guess it's coming back. But look at that 5-day decline. That always happens, right? There's always a bump at the start. Not always, but in volatile markets, that's just called a short squeeze, right? They know people are short all down this pile right here, right? all down this corridor. You see this downslide from midday down to the close, and you got a whole bunch of shorts that pile in there, shorts going down. And because their anticipation is that it'll open down the next day, that the trend will continue. So what you get is you get the big players. This is a game. It's a Ponzi scheme, but it's also a daily game of squeeze the short fucks out, which means that they sell before they buy and they have to cover, so they get squeezed out. So the big players, they come in, they drive the market up 53 points. It's also other shorts covering, people shorting all along the market. That's what Wall Street does. That's not what you can do. The only thing you can do as a mutual fund holder or a guy with an IRA, some kind of investment that you make through work, is you buy long. You sit there and when the markets crash, you go down with it. Wall Street, on the other hand, sells into that pressure and makes money on the way down. It's called a short sale. Watch the movie, The Short Squeeze, if you don't know what it means. Look it up. It's very complicated. I know it's hard to understand. What the hell does a short mean? What does it mean to be short stock? How could you sell before you buy if you don't own it? How can you sell something that you don't own? Well, that's the phenomena of Wall Street. So I think I'm still right. I think that this trend line from 2008 is going to be tested soon. There it is. There's the trend. It is still an up market from 2008, but you know what? Wall Street doesn't really care about any of that. What they do is they look at the 6 months, and you see the 6-month technical analysis. I'll get into the other stuff in a second. I just want to, while we're here, might as well hang out until we get some people in the room. But see, here's the beginning of the 6 months, and that was 26,800, and now we're down here at 24. So in the last 6 months, the markets are lower than they've ever been. Same could be said for the 1 year at this point, and almost the same could be said for the 2 years. Still the 2 years have, this peak right here is the 2-year low. And I think we're heading there right now as whatever reason. You could say whatever reason. Oh, yeah, it's coronavirus. Okay, yeah. If you want to believe that, you could believe that. Believe whatever you want to believe. I believe it's instability, it's bubble, it's debt market, it's the inevitable. It's the changing of the guards. It's the transparency that we're living in a banana republic, that the markets are actually fake. There's no way, based on the evidence that's now coming out, coronavirus, sure, but the evidence that's coming out that it is now confirmed based on 2016's evidence of poll rigging the actual election numbers, the actual vote, where people go to the vote, they go to the poll, they pick a candidate, and that number is not represented in the final total. That is now factually correct. That is as statistically proven at this point. And California is just a nail in the coffin that I'm going to show you in a second. It is just as statistically accurate as looking at these numbers right here and saying that the Dow Jones is currently up 594 points. There is no doubting. Nobody doubts by looking at these numbers. They want you to believe. The mainstream media doesn't talk about it. And the establishment would like you to believe that what you're seeing isn't real. No. That's a poll. It doesn't count. That doesn't mean anything. No, the exit polls are extremely accurate. They're not the poll where you ask someone months ahead, calling them on a rotary phone. That's different. It's a totally different animal. When someone asks in an exit poll, they're 98% sure that they know who that person voted for. Not just because they gave a snap decision, a snap answer. Oh, I voted for Bernie. That's not how it works. It's a series of 10, 15, 20 questions. I don't know how they do it. There's only one company still left. There should be an army of these companies doing this. But right now we rely on one company, Edison Research, and we need CNN to translate it or pass it on to us. Not translate it, but pass it on to us. So this shit is all rigged, man. There's no doubt about it, man. There is no doubt about it. The markets are going down. So tonight we'll be live. I don't know, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. We'll just stand by. We'll fucking, when some results come flying in, let's see. We have on the East Coast, polls will probably close about 7:30, 7:30, 6:30. And the only East Coast, there is no real East Coast. The closest to the East we get is, we might get Dems abroad right away. But for the most part, everything is Central Time and Pacific Time. So it'll probably be a late night, probably be like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, maybe 10 p.m. So maybe go live around 7. I don't fucking know. Maybe like 8 o'clock and we'll chat. We'll chat it up, man. We'll open up the Google Hangout. People can come in and bomb the shit out of it. Do whatever you want. Say whatever you want, man. Hey, listen, man. We're already shadow banned, so what difference does it make? What difference does it make if you say the fuck you and suck my dick? And who cares? It doesn't matter because we're already banned. All right? Nothing's going to get better around here. It's just if you know about this channel and you know about people like, what I'm doing, revealing the truth, consider yourself lucky. Consider yourself blessed that you found somehow you found the truth on YouTube. You found the truth, right? Someone has given you the truth, has given it to you straight up, straight away. No fudging, no bullshit. So, this is kind of funny, right? Because coronavirus, right? Everybody's scared shit. Literally, they're shitting in their pants. They're so scared shit of coronavirus that they're loading up on toilet paper. So I saw this, man. I saw this in Costco. Right? Valued customer. Due to the recent outbreak of stupidity and panic purchasing by complete idiots, the nation is currently experiencing a shortage of toilet paper and common sense. You can't make this shit up, man. I'd fucking snap a picture of it. This shit is dope. We expect supplies to be replenished once these sheep-minded morons have all starved to death in their homes, surrounded by toilet paper, but without anything to eat. Thank you for your patience. That's sheer brilliance, man. People loading up, in case you got to shit yourself, right? So let's look at it. Pow. So Democratic 2020 primary. I'll give you the numbers first. So there it is. There is TDMS research has provided us the California numbers crunched. And it is devastating, and it is consistent with the cheating that the establishment always wins, that Biden wins again. The liar, we're going to look at two. I didn't mention what we're going to look at today, but we'll look at, I got a whole bunch of clips lined up. We'll look at Joe Biden, the corporate tool, the pick, the puppet, for lack of a better term, the senile establishment liar. We'll look at some of his gaffes verse straight out lying. Is Joe Biden a gaffe king? Yeah, but is he also a compulsive liar just like Hillary Clinton? Yeah. We have that evidence as well, 5 points that we'll look at. But here's the deal breaker right here. I mean, this is what I was waiting for. I don't know about you, but I was waiting to see if Bernie Sanders, now again, Bernie Sanders is not the perfect vessel, but I was waiting to see if he could exceed the margin of cheating. There's things that Bernie Sanders clearly could have done better. The first thing is call out the cheating. Now that you know it exists, you knew it existed in the 2016, and it's not to say that it's a little bit of cheating, that it's massive cheating to the level of, see, most of the online punditry right now, most of the people in internet politics, people that I respect, people like Kyle Kalinske, people like some of the Young Turks, some of what Mr. Potato Head says, Cenk Uygur, Jamal Thomas, some good people out there. That Sam Cedar, to some degree, right? They have their finger on what's going on. Certainly, I mean, Lee Camp is in my camp. Lee Camp is in my camp, and certainly is Ben Norton, certainly Jimmy Dore, that we believe in the corruption. We see it. We're telling you about the numbers. Tim Canova in Florida, the lawyer who ran against Debbie Wasserman Schultz. There's like three camps. There's people that see the corruption and call it out and tell you, here's the numbers, here's how we're being cheated. And then there's the other people that say, we have to work harder. We have to work smarter. It's Bernie's fault because he's not calling out, he's not saying this, that, and the other thing. It is Bernie's fault. Bernie Sanders' fault. And it does look like it's not that it's an insurmountable lead against him. It's that the rules are insurmountably stacked against him in the form of visceral, visual, right out, in your face cheating in terms of the numbers. So it's unlikely that Bernie Sanders can win unless it's an enormous landslide. I mean, from out of nowhere, and that doesn't appear to be possible because Sanders is stuck in his ways. The mainstream media knows how to deal with him. Like Trump ran away with it because it was so unexpected. Like he came from out of nowhere and he just started landsliding the early states and blowing out the competition until there was nobody left. Sanders doesn't have that quality, but that doesn't mean you cheat him. He's winning. By all metrics, Bernie Sanders won Super Tuesday and likely won. He probably didn't win the South, but he certainly didn't lose by a whole lot. So here's the numbers. If you look at the first column, that's the exit poll. Joe Biden got 23% of the exit poll. Bernie Sanders got 38% of the exit poll. That is enormous. That is 15, what is it? 23, 33, 30. It's 15-point difference. Right? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's 15 points. 15 points. Bernie Sanders beat Joe Biden by 15 points in the exit poll. But then the actual report, what do they do? Here you go. Here's the evidence. They bump up Biden by 3.5, and they knock Bernie down by 4.2. There it is. They also bumped Bloomberg up by 2.5. Again, anything more, in my view, anything more than 2% is election fraud. That's it. But again, consistent with Massachusetts, Texas, South Carolina, Vermont. It's all consistent with the establishment pick, Joe Biden, always exceeding the margin, and Bernie Sanders, the insurgent, always losing the margin. It couldn't be more obvious. You could argue tooth and nail, up and down, jump up and down, that according to the exit poll, Sanders wins big in California, 15%. Computer counting cuts his lead by half to 3.7. There's the evidence. There is the mofo evidence. All right. Banana Republic. Banana Republic. This would, in real countries, in countries that are not gaslit like Americans, like the America that we live in, where the mainstream media gaslights the shit out of their audience, and people don't know what to believe, and they're so overworked and underpaid that they're afraid, they don't speak up. But if this was France, if these statistics happened in France or in a real democracy where people actually stand up for themselves, even like a place like Venezuela, right, where you see people get out there and complain, this would not be tolerated. Why do we tolerate it? Why do we tolerate it? This is, this is so, I want to say it's depressing. I want to say it's what I feel. You know, what do I feel right now when I look at something like this and I think to myself that the way that we are going about changing policy in this country is just wrong. I realized that I didn't say that the fundamental problem with most of the pundits that are going to report something like this is that they don't believe it. Guys like Kyle Kalinske, borderline, or certainly the Young Turks, you never, ever, ever hear them say election fraud. You never hear them say that the numbers are rigged. And they have the biggest audiences. I imagine that Jimmy Dore will say it, but you got to scream it because this is the whole shit. You could work as hard as you want. You could jump up and down and scream and yell and cry that the election, that Bernie Sanders should work harder and it's his messaging, but nothing could overcome what we're seeing right here. Nothing could overcome this. You cannot overcome over cheating with better speaking. It's just not possible. So there's your evidence. Let's read some of this from these folks at TDMS. I just want to drill this point home because it's urgent, right? This is the biggest red flag that, in my view, this is it. Right? I'm officially off of this campaign, right? Now at this point, with the evidence in, I just wanted to confirm it. What did we see? We saw all kinds of election fraud, not voter fraud. That's the bullshit. The voter fraud is the bullshit that the mainstream media tells you, that people are voting twice, or they're voting in one state and then jumping the border over to the other state, or they're illegal and they're voting. That doesn't rock the numbers. We're talking about thousands, tens of thousands of people that vote and have their vote flipped to a shit sandwich like Joe Biden. They vote for the populist, the real populist Bernie Sanders, and their vote gets thrown into the category of Joe Biden. It's crazy. Could you imagine, again, just look at the California numbers one more time, and you'll see what I'm talking about. If the numbers were different, right? If the establishment was leaning on Bernie, remember, California is big, 415 superdelegates. So if they rip him off for 15% of the vote, that's 100 vote. No, it's not 100, but it's probably like 60 or 70 delegates. It's enough to change the outcome. It's enough to say that Bernie Sanders is leading and Joe Biden is failing. But could you imagine if these numbers were in favor of Sanders, where instead of Sanders losing 4, they gave him 4, he'd be at 42, and Joe Biden would be at 19 and a half. Big difference, right? It would be they could paint it by just doing what they did for Biden. If they did it for Sanders, they could have created the illusion of a lopsided landslide. But we'll settle for the truth. The truth is 15% of the vote. The disparities for Biden and Bloomberg between Sanders and Warren also got fucked, are all more than double the margin of error for the exit poll differences between them. Biden leads the current delegate count from all states to date by 45. Estimate of exit poll delegate appointment for California and Texas results in a total. Sanders leads by whatever it's talking about. I don't even know what the fuck they're talking about. That's not a senile moment. That's just, I just lose interest in what I'm saying. Right? Big difference. So election results from the computerized vote count of 2020 California Democratic primary, presidential primary differed significantly from the results projected by the exit poll conducted by Edison Research and published by CNN at polls closing. According to the exit poll, Sanders won big in California, 15%. The unobservable computer count cut his lead by half to 7.3%. In the total delegate count to date, substituting the estimated California and Texas exit poll delegate appointments for the appointments derived from the computer counts results in candidate Sanders currently leading candidate Biden by 42 delegates instead of trailing by 45. See how they do it? It's close. Oh, it's only 45, but it's again, they don't jack one contestant up. They jack one contestant up and they cut the other one down. So, consistently, inescapably, from state to state, Biden was bumped up and Sanders was bumped down. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it right now that you know this? Do you still not believe it? Are you still, Well, just get on the Trump train. Oh, you tired of losing? Get on the Trump train. Right? It was fucking. After they go for Sanders, they're not coming for you. You're living in a banana republic. That's the point of this. That there is no. We're discovering and unraveling election fraud in our own country. That doesn't. I mean, it's devastating. It's intoxicating to this reporter to see this. Right in 2016, I was kind of paying attention, but I wasn't doing this kind of work. And I saw it as an observer, and I remember the chick, the sane progressive, Debbie Lusigna. I remember watching her lose her mind when she would crunch these numbers and she would tell people about it. And then her channel would get banned, her channel would get blocked, and she would basically lose her mind, and it drove her. I don't know, maybe drove her to drink, or fucking I don't know what happened to her, but she quit. And I would say to myself, wow, it's just how does she would get so viscerally upset and I don't know, people, when I started doing this, people said I was the reincarnation of her. But I don't really get upset anymore by this. I kind of just, I take it in stride, and I realize that all you can do is keep talking about it and point out the people who don't talk about it, which is all of mainstream media, half of the independent media, and stick with the winners. Stick with the people that are willing to, if this is a mass movement of an awakening of some sort, this is where the awakening happens. Certainly not, nobody's getting awake by knowing that, Donald Trump is amazing and he's making America great again. That's like a joke. In the total delegate count to date, so I read that already, the combined discrepancies between the exit poll and the vote count for candidates Sanders and Biden currently totals 7.7. I already gave you the numbers. What else can we see? What else? So it always they often define what the exit polls, the weight of the exit polls, and I don't see that paragraph, so I'll just move on. But let's look overall, just to review. Here's California again. We looked at that one. Next this is New Hampshire. It wasn't as close. Buttigieg, that's when Biden wasn't the favorite. See how it was fair? He got 10%. It was only, the margin of error was only less than a point. So it's probably not cheating. It just is what it is. Very, very close. Extremely close. Extremely fair. That's how it is. When you don't cheat, you see how it's 0.2, 0.1%, 0.3, 0.2. But once the cheating kicks in, it's 4.5, 3.5. That's cheating. So in New Hampshire, you see the clear bump up was Buttigieg. They gave him 2.5, 2.6, just enough to win. Just enough to win. They shaved Bernie down to and because Iowa, whatever, New Hampshire. Iowa, we didn't have exit polls, but we had Bernie's polls that show it was off about 5 or 6%. Always in favor of the establishment. Here's some of the most absurd stuff. This is not really, but in Texas, here's Biden. It didn't look like they cheated as much for Biden up, but Bernie got knocked down 4 points. And here, the big cheat was to create the illusion that Bloomberg was doing well. They knocked him up 7% or 1 point. They gave him an extra point. Right? Percentages, right? Percentage of the vote. So it's thousands of people that voted for somebody else and they got Bloomberg. It's just disgusting, right? So here's the one that made the headlines and went viral. Massachusetts, where Joe Biden got an extra 4.5 points. And Bernie Sanders got knocked down by 3.7 percentage points. And Elizabeth Warren also lost 3.6. That is a margin of error of 8%. 8%. Banana Republic. Coups start that way, where when one party wins by a lopsided vote, the other party comes in with guns drawn. Fistfights break out in real democracies, where people push back. Not around here, though. Not around here. South Carolina, in the Deep South. Was there cheating in the Deep South where the numbers were so lopsided for Biden? Bet your ass there was. Look at this. South Carolina up 3.7% for Biden. Sanders down 1.4%. Just enough. Margin of error, 5%. 5%. 5.1. Margin of error, election fraud. Over here, here's the most grotesque one. When the margins are really, really wide, where they expected Sanders to really, really win by a lopsided margin, they cut him down. The exit poll said that Biden got 17 and Sanders got 57. That's a blowout, right? So they had to fix that and give Biden 4.5% and jack him up to 22, and cut Sanders by 6.5 percentage points. That's the biggest rip I've seen so far. That's an 11-point margin of error. That's not margin of error. That's 11-point discrepancy in Vermont. 11 points. That is like head fucking spinning corrupt. I mean, just what? Most of the thinking world that watches something like that, what? 11 points? What? Absurd. You don't hear in mainstream media. You didn't hear Rachel Maddow say anything. You didn't hear. Fucking the Chris Cuomo guy or Anus Cooper. Wolf Blitzer never said anything. You didn't hear a goddamn word from any of these people. Why? I wonder why. So Super Tuesday. What about Minnesota? We didn't see any. We can just assume that these were all cheated for as well. I would guarantee that Maine has the same situation. If these guys publish the numbers, we'll see the same situation in Minnesota. I suspect Virginia and North Carolina also broke for Sanders. It's just devastating. All through the South, maybe. Joe Biden won with older blacks. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt in Oklahoma, Arkansas, Tennessee, and Alabama. We can give him the benefit of the doubt there. But the fact remains that even when Biden wins, they still shave off Sanders' numbers. Confirmed. No doubt about it. So here's a jack-off. His name is Ben Shapiro. Somebody, what's up in the chat, man? Sorry for ignoring you guys. I'm so in my subject right now. I can't even control myself. I can't even control what I'm saying. I'm just so absorbed. I'm so fully absorbed in election fraud, watching my country fail. Thank you, Vinny DiMartini and Sterling Price, for your moderation. If you're a dick in the comments, you get timed out for 300 seconds. I think it's like 5 minutes. We have to shut your hole or go away. It's a good rule. I like that. So what's going on, man? What's up, Kenneth Bourne? Joseph Mama, Joe Green is here, Jason Walsh, Zeddy, and we got Two Agro, Raccoon Fi, Blind Seer, Rampart, Stinta. What's up, JC? JC's a good guy. JC, I like his commentary. Blind Double D, Bernie loved Bernie until 2016, where he wouldn't expose the EF used against him. Election fraud against him. She knew Bernie was the real winner. Yeah. Yep. I mean, I know. It's not that I don't know. I hope you know that I don't know. And there's, I hope you know that I don't know. I know. I fucking know. I know, and I'm telling you. So, good, Sterling Price. Thank you. People are being good. Yeah, see, you know what, man? Just let them talk themselves out, right? Fucking, or they'll, and eventually they just go away. So let's look at this cocksmoker right here, Ben Shapiro. I don't know who he is. Apparently he's very popular. Why? Because he's got all these tweets. He retweets. He got 3,000 retweets and 26,000 likes. The guy must be important, right? Fucking, who is he? Host of the Ben Shapiro show, podcast, and I don't know, never listened to him. So he's popular, and this is what he says. It's good for the country that Biden had a good night tonight. Talking about Super Tuesday. Never acknowledges the fraud. It's good good for the country. A Bernie nomination would have rallied half the country around overt anti-Americanism and Marxism and put a radical communist within spitting distance of the White House. Wow, that's politics. That's not fraud. That's someone exercising their First Amendment right, despite the fact that he's a total idiot and doesn't know what he's talking about and is clearly lying. A radical communist is Bernie Sanders. It's so ridiculous, right? There's a difference, right? What we're talking about, all the lead-ups. I'm not talking about the DNC. The DNC is obligated to hold a fair election. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is when mainstream media politics against a certain politician and puts their finger on the scale. That's on them. Right? CNN claims to be fair and balanced. It couldn't be anything close to fair. It's not anything close to fair and balanced. And everybody knows it. That's politicking. But what Cocksmirker Shapiro is doing here is a form of, it's not necessarily cheating. The numbers are the cheating. Right? You could say whatever you want. Who gives a shit? Right? Who gives a flying fucking rat's ass what Ben, Shapiro says? I don't. But it is interesting because a lot of people do. So let's look at some of his comments. Ben, you're a fucking idiot. Supporting social democratic reforms a la Scandinavia does not make you a radical communist. Oh, good. Someone's paying attention. We should still take all your money, you fascist enabling dwarf. That's a good one. So he's not that well liked. People are pushing back. If making sure, I guess these are Bernie bros, right? Because you push back and then you're a Bernie bro. You push back on a lie and you're a Bernie bro. If making sure people can receive health care is anti-American, sign me up. Yeah, sign me up too. So I don't know. It's just a funny tweet. I got a lot of attention, right? So that's who the corrupt Democrats who don't want to give health care to anybody and don't want to expunge student loans from kids that are getting choked by it. Right? This is who they're voting for. This is who they're telling you to vote for. Right? Let's look at his record. I don't know if I saw this meme and I grabbed it. I was looking for a list of all of Biden's his political position. So here's something that summarizes it. It's not, I don't know if it's completely accurate, but it's pretty good, right? So he opposed Medicare for all. He opposes legalizing marijuana, supports the death penalty, which most people in the country do not. He wrote the 1994 crime bill that, with super predators that wrongfully targeted blacks in general. It should have just targeted young black males who live in the projects. In my opinion. He voted for DORMA, NAFTA. He voted for the Iraq War. He voted for the Patriot Act. He voted to advance bills to kill Roe v. Wade. I'm for that, by the way. I think, women's right to choose it shouldn't be revoked. It's just how I feel, right? I'm not about killing, but I just think that if a woman's right to choose is got to protect that. You have to. Voted for the 1986, the Firearm Owners Protection Act. So there's a little bit of a contradiction there. Right? So right-wing sexual predator. He was on Clarence Thomas's Supreme Court. He was predator. I don't know what that means. Strongly opposed busing. One of the most effective racial justice programs in U.S. history. I don't know about that. Right? Busing was fucked up. Actively admiring and seeking support for segregationists in the Senate. Did he really? Supporting Republicans. Did he really? Supporting cuts to Social Security and Medicare. That's a big one. Because the essence of the argument, the Democrats' argument is that we should, certainly it is for Sanders, is to elevate Social Security and protect Medicare and give it to all people. Medicare for all. Joe Biden is on the record saying to cut it, clear. Diminishing student loan debt. So he was for the bankruptcy bill that prevented kids from going, bankrupt, to expunge their student debt. Passed opposition to abortion and gay rights, like voting for the Defense of the Marriage Act. Did he really? He voted for the Iraq War, wasteful military and spending, the 2005 bankruptcy bill. He voted for measures aimed at outlawing gay marriage in the 90s. He opposed school busing in the 70s. Well, blacks might like that. I think I look at it as like, well, that's a good thing. I'm not for busing. I'm not for affirmative action. I don't believe in it. I don't believe in giving these people over here more and taking away from those people over there. Because if you believe in that, then you're okay with rigged elections, right? Because if someone works hard and wins, they win. Now, you could also make the argument and say, well, Conte, you're for taking away money from the rich and de-escalating income and wealth inequality. And that is true, and I am for that. I do believe that. But that's different. That's different because the system from time to time needs to be repaired financially to compensate for when monopoly occurs. We have laws in effect, but then the companies that are making a lot of money pay off the politicians, and the antitrust laws and the monopoly laws and the oligarchy laws that prevent this sort of thing get eliminated. They get thrown in the garbage. So that's different. Deflating billionaire class, deflating corporations that 1% of the population controls all of the wealth of everybody else is a big fucking problem. It's not the same thing as wanting to, it's not like busing. He voted against regulation of credit card companies, of which happened to be one of his largest donors. He voted against the war on drugs. He voted for the war on drugs. He voted against it. Decriminalize. Legalize. He supported the TPP, Trans-Pacific Partnership, that would have been a disaster, right? If it wasn't for Bernie Sanders yakking, from the rooftops, and then Trump took it on and got it thrown out. That was Bernie Sanders, by the way, that did it. So that's some of his political positions, Joe Biden. Wow, I'd vote for him, man. So The Intercept did a great job right here. We have rigged elections. Did I mention that? I'm still getting over it, that the elections are totally rigged, right? We have a liar now. They're gonna promote Joe Biden, the liar, the gaffe king, the senile man, the senile elderly man, the elder statesman that should have retired. He should have went to the golf course with Obama, rather than try to run for president again, because he's not going to win. He's not going to beat Trump. But he's senile. He's a liar. Does that really matter? No, it doesn't matter, because he's still going to win. Why? Because I just showed you the numbers are rigged. Will they? I mean, they're already pulling a fast one. It's likely that Sanders is winning. He's winning the delegate count, but the public thinks that he's 100 points behind, and that's how they'll get him over the margin. Even got the pollsters. The polls are ridiculous. Look at this. I'll show you the latest polls. Oh, look, we have some new polls this morning while people are at the polls voting. In Michigan, 21. In Missouri, they've got Biden 39 points up. Now, this is what's called manufacturing consent. In Florida, they've got Biden 36 up. Yesterday, same bullshit. In Mississippi, they got Biden all Biden. It's all Biden. Biden is winning everywhere. All of a sudden, the guy rises from the dead, and he's beating every goddamn people. Even now you've got Nate Silver, Mr. Israel, Jew, fucking taking the money, right? And now he changed his tune. You remember when he was saying that it was that Sanders had a 2 in 5 shot of winning? Now he's just looking at the fake polls, not calling it out. There's nothing in here. You can read his whole page. Not a single thing that says Biden, that the election is rigged in favor of Biden. Not a single thing. He's just taking that fact, and he's probably right at this point. He probably is right, but the fact is he's not taking into consideration the actual facts that it's rigged numbers. So they've got Joe Biden a 99 and 100 chance of winning. And now he's changing his tune, saying that only a 1 in 100 shot that there is no majority. Meaning that 99% of 99 out of 100, Joe Biden is going to be the nominee with a majority of the 1,991 delegates needed to clinch the nomination. And Bernie Sanders has a less than 1 in 100 shot of winning. So that's how the tables have turned in the mainstream media. Nate Silver is mainstream media. He's 538. He was Hillary Clinton's darling throughout the again, remember the actual numbers likely weren't as rigged as heavily leading into Super Tuesday, but once they rigged it, guys like Nate Silver jump on the bandwagon. They jump on the horse and start, riding that fraud. So this is a great video. I'll watch a little bit of it. It gives me my mouth a rest. And it's by The Intercept. And The Intercept discovers 5 great lies that Joe Biden has told so far. This is the pick. This is who the Democrats are getting behind. They love Joe Biden. Oh, Joe is going to, he's the saving grace, the 77-year-old senile man from Washington. The Obama ba. He's Obama Biden. Biden-Bama. This is the pick. This is who they're going to try to run over. They're going to run against Trump and get creamed. So 5 big lies by Joe Biden, and then we'll watch it. Arrested in apartheid South Africa. What a fucking lie. Totally false. He claims he pinned the medal on a dying soldier. Lie. He said Bush tricked him into the Iraq war vote. Another total lie. He was on the record way before that saying, go to war with Iraq. Number 4, he says he claims he marched in the civil rights movement. False. He's on the record saying, I was never there. I had nothing to do with that shit. Doesn't that infuriate the blacks? I don't get it, man. I guess, most people don't view it. They're not looking at what he says. They're not paying attention. I don't know. Plagiarist. He lied about his grades in school. and he also made up, he stole text from other speeches while he was running for president. So let's listen to this. It's a good report.
And will it hurt him against Trump in the general election? There's much talk online, especially among Bernie Sanders supporters, about whether Joe Biden is in cognitive decline, whether he has dementia, why he's so incoherent. Now, I'm no doctor. I'm not going to make a medical diagnosis. Apart from to say that in terms of his speech and his memory, there's clearly undeniably been a lot of decline in recent years.
My name's Joe Biden. I'm a Democratic candidate for the United States Senate.
But today, forget the weird stuff that Biden says that doesn't make any sense.
We hold these truths to be self-evident.
We already talked about the gaffes, right? These are gaffes. These are just senile misspeaking. But what the Intercept does in this 5 minutes is confirm that he's a fucking liar.
All men
Big
were
difference.
created by you know the thing.
Forget all of that, though, and focus on his falsehoods. The fact that he just makes stuff up, that he does seem to be a fabulist. Here are just 5 examples. Number 1, his arrest in apartheid South Africa. The former vice president said 3 times during the month of February alone that he got arrested trying to see Nelson Mandela in prison.
I had the great honor of meeting him. I had the great honor of being arrested with our UN ambassador on the streets of Soweto trying to get to see him on Robben's Island.
Except it's a lie. Biden himself was forced to fess up on CNN.
When I said arrested, I meant I was not able to move. Cops
Afrikaners would not let me go with them, made me stay where I was. I guess I wasn't arrested, I was stopped.
To be clear,
He's Hillary Clinton. He's Hillary Clinton with a penis, right? You remember Hillary Clinton says she came out. I have that video. I've played that video 10 times already. The video of Hillary Clinton say she, at least on 3 occasions, said that she came out on the tarmac in Kosovo or one of those places. A war. She came down on the tarmac in Bosnian sniper fire. You remember? She had a duck. The helicopter did a corkscrew landing on a tarmac, and she had to run from sniper fire. Remember when she said that? And the video came out that she was on the tarmac singing with children, and it was a warm reception. They gave her flowers. Total fucking lie. And she paraded that story around. So Joe Biden is the same fucking liar. That's not to say Trump's not a liar. Try to find Bernie Sanders in a lie like that. It's almost impossible. Try to find evidence of Bernie Sanders lying. I haven't found any. I haven't seen anything. Nothing.
he didn't misspeak, he didn't misremember, it wasn't a gaffe, it was a lie, and a really bad one. Because he even claimed at one point last month that Mandela later thanked him for getting arrested. Number 2, there's the silver star that never was. Over the years, Biden has told a moving but false war story in speeches and at rallies. He did it in New Hampshire last August.
This guy climbed down a ravine, carried this guy up on his back under fire, and the general wanted me to pin the silver star on him. I got up there and Stan, this is God's truth, my word as a Biden. He stood at attention. I went to pin him. I said, sir, I don't want the damn thing. Do not pin it on me, sir. Please, sir. Do not do that. He died. He died.
He didn't pin the medal on the guy, who wasn't a Navy captain. He just made it up. And Biden has told this story time and again over the years, changing the details in it ever so slightly on each occasion. So sorry, it's not a gaffe, it's pure misrepresentation. Then there's Iraq, where the former vice president says he only voted for the war because the Bush administration tricked him.
I made a mistake. I said it 14 years ago. I trusted George Bush to keep his word. He said he was not going to go into Iraq.
Except Biden was calling for war with Saddam Hussein in 1998.
The only way we're going to get rid of Saddam Hussein, and it's going to require guys like you in uniform to be back on foot in the desert, taking taking Saddam down.
You know what it is? They probably never expected, jerk-offs like Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton probably never expected people to actually, because they pander to dumb, stupid, gullible, gaslit people, they probably never expected, Joe Biden certainly never expected any of this stuff to come back. Come back and bite him in his ass. YouTube, with the shit, you could just sit here and search it and find all of these gaffes. They probably didn't expect it, but guess what? Welcome to the new age.
He also says now that he opposed the Iraq War as soon as it started.
From the moment shock and awe started, from that moment, I was opposed to the effort and I was outspoken.
A complete fabrication. Here he is several months after the invasion began, praising both the war and George Bush.
Some of my own party have said that it was a mistake to go to Iraq in the first place. But the cost of not acting against Saddam, I think, would have been much greater. The President of the United States is a bold leader and he is popular.
Again, Biden just makes stuff up. He makes demonstrably false claims without an iota of shame. Number 4, there's Biden's role in the civil rights movement, which is pretty easy to summarize. He didn't have one.
When I marched in the civil rights movement, I marched with tens of thousands of others to change attitudes. And we changed attitudes.
When I was about the age of the guy standing over there, I got involved in the civil rights movement.
Wow, so he said it then? Civil rights movement, that's what Bernie Sanders was saying, right? Bernie Sanders is actual evidence of it. He was there as photographic evidence that Bernie Sanders participated in the civil rights movement. But this is here's Biden saying it then and saying it again now, all these years later, still running the story. And this is what he actually did right here, in his own words.
He knows it's untrue. Don't take my word for it. Take his.
I was not an activist. I was not out marching. I was not down in Selma. I was not anywhere else.
Imagine as a white guy, lying about your role in the civil rights struggle. Finally, you all know that Biden had to quit his 1988 campaign after he was caught plagiarizing parts of his stump speech. But Biden also lied about his grades.
I think I probably have a much higher IQ than you do, I suspect. The first year in law school, I decided I didn't want to be in law school and ended up in the bottom 2/3 of my class, and then decided I wanted to stay, went back to law school, and in fact ended up in the top half of my class.
In fact, he graduated 76th in a law school class of 85 students. Oh dear, pretending that you're smarter than you are and inflating your academic success. Who does that remind you of?
I've also heard I was first in my class at the Wharton School of Finance. And sometimes when you hear it, you don't say anything. You just let it go.
Trump didn't come top of his class either. Obviously, though, Biden is no Trump. No one can compare to a serial fabricator like the president.
There's one more, just bear with it.
Who's told more than 16,000 lies since coming to office. But look, saying the former vice president is not as dishonest or as deluded as the current president is just not good enough. It isn't. It's lowering the bar beyond belief. And the evidence is in. Joe Biden has a habit of making things up. And it's not just wrong, it'll hurt him. Because if you think the guy who made up getting arrested in South Africa, who falsely claimed to have marched in the civil rights movement, if you think he's the safe candidate against Trump, then I'm sorry, but you're lying to yourself.
That was a great report, man. Those are the big five right there, right? So going forward, that's who the Democrats are going to have to, they're propping him up, and you know fucking Trump is going to come out wagging his finger saying, you lied to that man, that dying soldier. You never pinned the medal. How dare you, right? Trump's going to get right in his face and shake the fuck. He's going to shake him the hell up. It's over, man. It should be funny to watch. At that point, I'll probably be, I'm neutral. I don't want to see, I would have loved to see, Trump get knocked out of the box. Of course, because Trump is bad for the economy, in my view. He's bad for regular people and working people, and that's why I supported Sanders. And, the honesty, integrity thing, you get all that too. But going forward, if Biden is in fact the nominee and there's no change today or on the 17th in these elections, then we'll reassess when we get there. So here's Joe Biden's The Gaffes. If you're not familiar, just play The Gaffes. So play them all the time. Share them with people. That's the liar Joe Biden. Now we'll look at the Gaff King, the senile Joe Biden, just making shit up. Just like, I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't even know what I'm talking about. Watching his brain short circuit, watching him claim that he has a stuttering problem from childhood, but throughout his whole career, there was never any discussion of stuttering. They just kind of, now all of a sudden he's a stutterer and he's, you're fucking senile, you old man. Go away. So here's Joe Biden today.
We choose truth over facts. He's saying that it was President my boss is his fault. I was a Democratic caucus. You remember caucus? No, you haven't. You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier.
Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
Friend, and she's a friend. She's been my friend in and out of public life. We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing. Tomorrow's Superstar Tuesday. All right, Chuck. Thank you very much.
All right. It's Chris, but anyway.
Chris. My name's Joe Biden. I'm a Democratic candidate for the United States Senate. Look me over. If you like what you see, help out. If not, vote for the other guy. I love this place. Look, what's not to like about Vermont? One of the things I'm proudest of is getting passed, getting moved, getting control of the Paris Climate Accord. I'm the guy that came back after meeting with Deng Xiaoping and making the case that I believe China would join if we put pressure on them. You had people like you had people like the former chairman and leader of the party.
I just want to jump in on a comment. Joe says, I wish we had some solid evidence for the rigging. That's interesting. Did you just watch the video? Did you just jump in? I'm not jumping on you. I'm just pointing out that maybe you didn't watch the video. Exit polling being off is direct evidence. Solid evidence. Exit polls, when exit polls are off, that is direct evidence, admissible in courts. It's not a fantasy. That is direct evidence of rigging. Sorry about that.
In Germany. Go to Joe 30330. Watch what happened when those kids from Parkland came up to see me when I was vice president. They went into and some of you covered it. It's not that they don't want to help. They don't know quite what to do. Play the radio. Make sure the television, make sure you have the record player on at night. The phone. Make sure the kids hear words. And to get hot, I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. They'd look at it. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap. And I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
That should be a soundbite right there. I'm not using myself. And I love kids jumping on my lap. That's the fucking soundbite. That's the one that Trump is going to use. That's going to be this shit is going to be all over Republican attack ads, commercials forever. You think you're getting tired of hearing this shit now? You're going to get a ram down your throat, right after the summertime leading in. And once he's confirmed, once he starts taking the lead, they'll start hitting him. Republicans are not going to wait. They're going to start attacking him. So you were wondering where Tulsi Gabbard went. If you happen to be wondering, right? So she's getting screwed. Right? They changed the rules on her. So if you were wondering where the lovely Tulsi Gabbard has been, she's on Fox News telling the audience about how she was bullied off the debate stage. Let's listen.
I know how important that job is and the cost and the consequences of the decisions that are made. And look, I think the American people would be best served by being able to hear my voice on that debate stage, and
So-
we're calling for them to allow that to happen.
As of now, the criteria doesn't work. You're not going to be there.
Which, by the way, they just changed it.
They
They just changed it.
They have changed it throughout the race. It would
Yeah.
seem at times to include people.
So after Super Tuesday, based on the qualifications, I would have been on the debate stage, and then they changed it.
So
She makes a good point. She makes a good point. They changed the rules to include Bloomberg, and that's okay. See, it's like it's moving the goalposts. That's what the DNC does. This is not free. This is not fair. This is a form of cheating. Where the rules, the referees are changing the rules that everybody agrees on prior, and when you change the rules, that's cheating. That's evidence of cheating as well. That is direct evidence of cheating, where the establishment candidate with $1 billion, ready to spend $1 billion, he gets moved to the front of the line, and the good congresswoman who's out there banging away gets removed from the line. She didn't drop out. That's cheating.
though looking at the delegate counts, realistically, there's no path for you to catch up with either one of these men who are still in the race for the nomination. So why should you be on the stage? What are you doing at this point?
It's because of these issues that I'm raising. It's because of this central point that I've just made and the voices of my fellow brothers and sisters in uniform, my fellow veterans, and fellow Americans who are deeply, deeply concerned about how this long-held foreign policy of the United States of going around and being the world's police, of waging wasteful regime change wars that don't make us any safer, how much it has cost us in American lives and in American taxpayer dollars.
And that's what this president campaigned on too, saying no more of this. We're not going to throw good money and good lives after, you know, the losses that we've had. And he's right now Afghanistan.
So I don't really like that. I don't really like that answer. I don't like her answer because she's saying that my voice needs to be heard. Fuck you and your voice. The point is that you played by the rules, and according to the rules, you deserve to be on that stage. See, that's what it is, man. Stick with the fucking evidence. Stick with the facts. The fact is, Tulsi Gabbard got her 2 delegates in American Samoa, in the middle of the Pacific. Doesn't matter. They voted for her, and she got some delegates. And she's still in the running, and she should be on that stage. Now, they also changed the rules against Bernie Sanders to make it a sit-down, and they changed the next debate into a town hall. where allegedly, people in the audience, people in the audience are just going to walk up to the microphone and ask questions, which that never happens. That's rigged as well. This is also forms of cheating. Why did you suddenly change the rules of the debate? All right, the DNC said, oh, no, that was CNN did it. CNN says, oh, no, that was the DNC. Talk to this one, that one. You get the runaround. Nobody knows who changed the rules. They asked Bernie, would you like to change the rules? He said, fuck no. Joe Biden was like, we'll just go along with whatever they say. And that means whatever the establishment says, whatever they're going to do for him, because he has no mind of his own. So anyway, Tulsi Gabbard. This is a long video about Hillary Clinton. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but it is interesting that the Young Turks go on and on about exposing it. It plays into what I said earlier, that the problem is not Hillary Clinton playing politics on TV, saying Bernie Sanders is a loser and it doesn't matter. You have to talk about the cheating. I'm not going to play it because that's the essence of it. All right. So anyway, Mark Conte reporting. We, if you're tuning in late, rewind the tape and look at some questions, man. So somebody mentioned, I saw it go by. Please talk about the Joe Biden and Joe Biden's son Hunter Biden nonsense about how they were involved in quid pro quo. Yeah, that's all going to come out, and that was the essence of the impeachment hearings, and I followed it kind of half-assed because it's so stupid. Right? It's not the basis. It's not grounds for an impeachment. That's the Democrats and Adam Schiff and the other guy who can't stand on his feet, Jerry Nadler, who passes out. That's all a creation of those guys, and you'll see plenty of that. Of course Trump's going to run that because they're going to try to say Trump is the third president in American history that was impeached, and Trump's going to turn around and throw it in Biden's face. He has the actual target on the stage. The president of the United States has the actual target of the corruption standing next to him with no buffer. You know how that's going to play out? And, add to that the elections are rigged against Bernie. Add to that the guy is senile. Add to that that Biden can't call Trump a liar because we have the evidence that Biden is the liar. Now, as I had said all along, if the candidate were Bernie Sanders, you can't call Bernie Sanders a liar. There's no evidence of that. You can't show videos of him flip-flopping on the issues because he doesn't flip-flop on the issues. He's never been involved in any scandal. What are you going to say? Oh, yeah, 3 houses. Everybody in politics anybody who's successful in America has, multiple homes. And especially in the case of Sanders, where one of his homes is in Vermont where he lives. The other one is in D.C. where he works. And he has, terrible. He wrote a best-selling book, and he bought himself a modest $600,000 summer home in Connecticut somewhere on the beach. That's all. You can't attack him on that either. So Sanders, as I say, Sanders clearly would have been the winner of all that. All right, would have been the winner. Is it over? Is it over? All right. Do we even need to watch tonight, or are we confirmed that election fraud is in full bloom, full view right now, and there is no stopping it? That the Democrats will do everything in their power to stop Bernie Sanders. Everything leading up to this failed, somewhat, and now they're going for the death blow. We see the margin of error, or do we? In the most extreme case in California was as high as 8%. In Massachusetts, 8 and 9%. But in Vermont, we saw it go as high as 11% cheating on the actual vote, rigging the actual numbers. So if Bernie Sanders exceeds that margin of cheating, will they then up their numbers to stop him? Absolutely. Absolutely. Maybe not this Tuesday. Definitely this Tuesday will be rigged against Sanders. Next Tuesday will be. And then going out into April 28, where New York and Pennsylvania vote, same shit. Same shit. Well, they'll probably, if Sanders looks like he's closing in, they'll jack those numbers up to a total blowout to make it seem like a total fucking blowout with Joe Biden. Right? When Sanders is going to fill up stadiums. He's going to fill up Washington Square Park with 20, 30,000 people again. And Biden can't put 10 people in front of him. He can't put 100 people, real people, in front of him for 7 minutes. And it's just a staggering display of election fraud going on right now. So anyway, Marcus Conte reporting. Guess I'll leave it there. Play some. Let Heather Maloney take us out. Any other stuff going on? Did I miss anything? Yeah, the killer virus. Right, of course. Killer virus is. Let's look at the market. So the market seems to have bounced. If you want to see it, it's down. It's up 800 right now. Let's look at the 5-day. This is where you look, right? So it went as high as. Yeah, see, it did its bounce. You see its bounce? And now, actually, no, I refreshed. It's only up 300 points. It's not up 800. So it does the bounce. It does the short squeeze. It squeezes out the shorts with the automatic stop losses in. And then once it achieves that, it comes straight down. So it opened up 800 and has come right down. That tells you that there's absolutely no buying going on. Just a little squeeze at the open. All of the pressure is selling right now. All of the pressure is selling. So then we look to the max chart, and we see that the market is screaming downward. Remember, in the stock market, shit comes down faster than it goes up. And you see how severe the downward momentum is right now. I mean, it's just a free fall right now. Percentage-wise, it's staggering, right? It's almost probably like 20%. It's 15% down from 29,000 all the way down to 24,000 and change. So it just shaved off 5,000 points. Kiss your assets goodbye. Kiss those assets goodbye. I'm not being cynical. I'm not trying to poke fun at it. I'm just telling you, man. That's the shit. Put out a reminder. Vinny DiMartini reminds me to put out a reminder for tonight. I will do that. I just don't know exactly what time it's going to start. It could be 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. I don't want it to go for 3 hours again, man, because that shit is exhausting. Stay hanging around 3 hours. It's like watching paint dry, right? I try to get it closer, maybe like to 9 o'clock when we have some results to talk about, and then we'll get the final result. Maybe like we'll go from like 9 to 11. So expect from like 9 to 11. We'll open up the chat to we'll have the menu, the chat. Here's I already got a thumbnail for tonight. So we'll open up the lines where people can jump into the hangout. So they're not so I don't feel so lonely. People to talk to. Vinny probably will jump right in. Vinny's got the radio voice. Me, I just fake it. I fake it till I make it. I fake it. I'm one of those guys. I fake it till I make it. So thank you guys for joining me. I don't know what else to talk about. And let the darling, the angelic Heather take us out, man. Because she is, man. Love this shit, man.
Though you try,
don't even try.
You are free.
I'll get it into the next song. I get the next song. Here we go.
My tired friend.
This is great. This is a great song right here. Want to watch with me? Let's watch together.
I've been waiting on delivery to come to me a while. It's been there in my periphery, just out of reach. I've been waiting on so many stars, and when I was a child, thought they twinkled at the wishes I sent up their way, but they betrayed